over the past few minutes. This scan briefly just popped up, which is why the National Weather Service had put out a tornado warning for this area of tightening rotation. Again, this is just north of downtown Edwardsburg, just north of US 12. This will likely continue to move its way towards the north and east, eventually moving up towards M62. Now I'm going to go ahead and put on a track of this, and you just notice here how this brief scan here just now moved that tightening of that rotation right along M62. So we have Edwardsburg off to our south. We've got M62 right here, and this is the area that we're watching for at least some rotation. And the National Weather Service again just put out this tornado warning until 3:45 p.m. So if you're just joining us right now in First Alert Weather, we are tracking this strong thunderstorm right now that is in Cass County, right in the heart of Cass County, if you will, for a possible tornado. So this is a good reminder as we're in early March right now on what you should do in case there is severe weather. So right now, if you're in Cass County right now in southwestern Michigan, Edwardsburg, Cassopolis right now between M62 and M60, what do you need to do? Well, you need to head inside if you're watching us on the free WNDU First Alert Weather app and try to get to the lowest level that you can go. So if you do not have a basement, that's an interior room, such as a basement or a closet. Now, if you don't have a basement, again, that's going to be likely a bathroom in the center of your location. But if you do have a basement, that's going to be the best location to go. So that's what we're going to continue to watch here in First Alert Weather, is this tornado warning that has popped up just north of downtown Edwardsburg right now. Notice how downtown Edwardsburg is technically included in this warning and just north of Granger. If you're watching us from Granger and downtown Edwardsburg, you're safe from this. This is going towards the north and east right now. In fact, we're currently watching this right over M62. In the past few scans here, over the past few minutes or so, it's really reduced the rotation here, but we are going to continue to monitor this right here. It's right along M62. So you've got Edwardsburg to our south, you've got Cassopolis to our north, and it's this area that I've highlighted right along M62 between Edwardsburg and Cassopolis that we are watching for at least some rotation. Now, again, there has been no confirmation of a tornado on the ground. This is just what the radar scans are picking up. Some rotation in the upper layers of the atmosphere. And that trend is likely going to continue for the next several minutes. But I have noticed since 3:15 to just about 3:20 now, over the past 5 minutes, the scan has lowered a little bit. So that's the trend we want to see, is again, lessening of that tight rotation right now between Edwardsburg and Cassopolis. I want to go ahead and widen this out for you and put on a track of this. It's moving at about 35 miles an hour here. So let's go ahead and put on a track here with this and moving it towards the east-northeast at about 35 miles per hour here. Let's widen this out here. And notice how it gets up towards Brownsville over the next 10 minutes. So if you're around Cassopolis, Brownsville, Edwardsburg area, you do need to take shelter from this storm. Again, as we are monitoring this for a possible tornado. The National Weather Service just commented it as well. We're in the chat room with them. They just noted that the rotation on the storm has increased dramatically over the past few scans. But again, we are starting to see that a little bit lessening as well. Jack is here as well. Jack, what are you seeing right now?
Yeah, Andrew, we are just seeing that tight rotation up there in St. Joe County, Michigan. And the one thing that I'm keeping a rather close eye on, especially when it comes in terms of the rotation, is just exactly how tight it is. So it is a little concerning that you can see behind me. Once again, once we're looking at the storms and actually the rotation at it, that's going to be the velocity scans that we just had on this storm, but also just kind of the mass and size of this one lone cell that is tracking out. And when I mean cell, what we're actually going to be tracking out, so instead of a line of storms, which we're pretty used to seeing here in Michiana, we're just seeing that one lone, you call it a blip, if you will, on the radar. And we've seen that grow and grow and grow. And actually what Andrew and I were talking about earlier was the fact that this cell was cycling. So it actually went in cycles of strengthening, weakening, strengthening, weakening. And obviously right now it is getting a bit of an ego on itself, if you will, and starting to strengthen up as it's passing through portions of Cass County, Michigan. And as we are watching it, it is crossing M62 now, heading up to portions of Cassopolis. Vandalia needs to think about getting into their safe space right now. now. But just that tightening of the rotation, that has been the main thing that we have been watching, and how this cell has started to evolve with some of the really warm air that we're seeing right now. Like I said, it grows, it weakens, and right now it is on that upswing. So hopefully within the next couple scans and maybe within the next couple minutes, Andrew, we can see the cell start to weaken back down. Just got a brand new batch of data in, brand new scan in. It does look like it started to weaken just a little bit as it already crossed the highway there of M62, Andrew. So hopefully within the next few scans we can start to see that trend start to kind of mount on itself and this cell start to collapse.
Yeah, and again, that's exactly what we want to see, Jack, is the less tightening there of the rotation. Just texting Josh and Lauren right now, see if we're getting anything into the 16 News Now room. One of our old colleagues here, Caleb, he lives up in Cass County. He's up in Cassopolis right now in Diamond Lake. He said it's hailing right now up into Cassopolis. So, Jack, if you can take a look at that hail core right now, they are getting at least a report of some small hail right now up into Cassopolis right now. So that is something that we continue to monitor here in 16 News Now. Now, just briefly checking back in with the National Weather Service, there's been no new update from them as far as information regarding this tornado warning. That is out until 3:45 p.m. It is this area, and I'm going to see if I can go ahead and pop up here the tornado warning for you. We'll see if it can pop back up for you. But it is this area right now that is now east of M62 that we are watching for some rotation. So if you're up towards Vandalia, the south side of Cassopolis, down towards Adamsville, Union, you do need to use caution and take shelter from this storm. So what do I mean by shelter here? Well, here's what you can do. Some tornado safety tips, if you will. Basement, storm cellar, the interior room on the lowest floor without windows. That's going to be your best case whenever you're dealing with a tornado warning. And I know for the first time this year, this is our first tornado warning in Michiana. So likely catching some of you off guard, and it's a reminder of what season we're transitioning to. As we go from winter into spring, Mother Nature battles itself out quite a bit. So we're likely to deal with this volatile weather, and not only for today, but over the next few weeks as well, as we continue to transition from our cold months to more of our warmer months. So let's get back to this tornado warning right now. Again, if you're in Edwardsburg right now, you're safe from this storm. If you're in Simonton Lake, you're safe from this storm. If you're in Granger, you're safe from this storm. But again, if you're around Cassopolis, Vandalia, this is what we want to make sure that we're first alerting to, is that there is some rotation within this. The storm is rotating. There's been no confirmation of a tornado on the ground. And we are also seeing some lightning with this, some very heavy rainfall. You can tell by the reds here, some very heavy rainfall moving through right now a portion of Cass County in southwestern Michigan, as well as some hail being reported right now in Cassopolis. So again, we are first alerting ahead that this tornado warning is still out for another 20 minutes. It's 3:23 right now. This warning expires at 3:45 p.m. for a potential of a tornado. Again, radar indicated. What you don't want to see is this word here changed to observed. If that were to say observed, that would mean there is a tornado on the ground. We're not seeing signs of that yet. There's been no confirmation of any ground truth of this reaching the ground. Now, I want to go ahead and put back on the storm track. Jack, if you can go ahead and put on the storm track of this for me on the main weather computer here. It's moving towards the east-northeast at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So just briefly putting on a track here. This will change a little bit some of these times. But here's a look at some of these times here. Vandalia, likely already raining. Cats and dogs, it seems like, but we could see some of that rotation approaching your area in about 5 minutes. And if this storm can survive, likely reaching Marcellus in the next 25 minutes, which would put it in Marcellus really towards the end here of this current warning time from the National Weather Service at 3:45 p.m. Now I'm going to jump back in here to our rotation detector here and just really zoom on in on what we are looking at with the rotation here. You notice Mottville off on the right-hand corner of my screen. You've got Cassopolis to the north and Vandalia. It is this portion of the storm right here that we are concerned with. There's been a few scans again that Jack and I were watching at around 3:15 that really tightened up this rotation. We were getting ready to break into programming as soon as the National Weather Service issued that tornado warning. And we are seeing that that rotation is weakening somewhat, which is what we want to see, is that lessening of that tight rotation here where we're losing some of those brighter colors. But nonetheless, if you are between Cassopolis, Adamsville right now, if you live east of M62, going over towards M40 and M60 to the north, you need to take shelter. So if you're anywhere within M62, M60 and M40, you do need to take shelter from this storm as there is some signs of rotation. Jack, are you seeing anything new on social media on our 16 News Now channels?
On the 16 News Now channels, Andrew, I'm not seeing anything new. We just got a video sent in from Caleb, one of our old photographers at WNDU, like you mentioned earlier, out in Cassopolis, and he did have a video of hail coming down. Looked like anywhere in the range of quarter to maybe pea-sized hail, so nothing too crazy out there. And something I have been tracking out is that hail core that is currently moving into portions of Vandalia. The good news is, between the past few scans that I have been noticing, we're starting to see that hail core start to collapse, which is good news. That's going to be the strongest portion of the storm. That's also where we are seeing some of that rotation behind me. What happens is the storm, as it's a living, breathing thing, so it needs to take in a whole lot of air, and all that air rushes into the storm, gets thrown up into the upper atmosphere, obviously cooler and colder up there. So that is where a lot of the moisture will condense and then actually freeze and turn into hail. And that's where you're going to be seeing the strongest portion of the storm. As of now, past couple scans have shown that that hail core is moving in between Cassopolis and Vandalia currently, and is starting to weaken just a bit, which is good news. And one thing I am trying to work on is getting that video loaded into our system so we can showcase everybody, showcase the viewers exactly the hail threat that we are looking that is moving into Cass County. Right now, it is nothing too crazy, almost reminiscent actually of the hail event. I think we had it about two and a half weeks ago. Granger saw a whole bunch of hail that was coming down, and actually saw a massive hailstorm. Thankfully, they did not have any tornado warnings, just because, well, the time of year and actually the setup that we had was a whole lot different than today. Obviously, back then we weren't talking about temperatures that were even in the 70s. We were talking about temperatures that were in the upper 50s, lower 60s. Once you start getting into the 70s and you can really pump up the temperatures, pump up some of that energy, pump up some of that moisture, obviously our storms get fairly excited, start to spin a little bit, and also talk about some of that smaller sized hail that is coming down. But like I said earlier, we are seeing this storm start to downtick as it starts to track, pretty much actually start to move actually to the end of its polygon there in that warning box that you can see behind me. We're about halfway through it right now. Andrew, you said the warning's up till when was it again?
Yeah, 3:45 p.m. So we've got about another 15 minutes and change here with this tornado warning. Again, the good news right now, we're not seeing any ground truth that there is a tornado on the ground. Now, that doesn't mean you should be on the front porch and watching this storm. You need to be inside taking shelter from this, and really use this as a reminder of what season we're getting into. This is a great time to help prepare your family. Make sure they know what to do in the event if there were a tornado warning issued for your area. So even if you're not in Cassopolis right now, if you're watching us from South Bend or Elkhart right now, where the weather is okay, we do want to make sure that, again, you know what to do in the event of a tornado warning. So what you should do in the event of a tornado warning, I'm going to pop back up this graphic here. I really love this graphic here. You want to try to get to the lowest level that you can. An interior room, an interior closet without windows. And if you do not have a basement, that's going to be your best place to go. Now, if you have a basement, that will be your best case scenario to go in the event of a tornado warning. Now, I want to break out the radar real quick and show you on a wider look of what we're looking at. So if you're watching us from other communities right now, if you're watching us from St. Joe, LaPorte, Michigan City, Knox, Winnipeg, Plymouth, Rochester, Warsaw, Goshen, South Bend, over towards LaGrange, your weather is fine. What we are first alerting to is a portion of Cass County and St. Joseph counties in southwestern Michigan. And we just got an update from the National Weather Service here. They're going to continue the tornado warning. They're not going to allow it to expire. This will continue up until at least 3:45 p.m. So first alert weather time right now at 3:30 p.m. We've got another 15 minutes left here of this warning. But notice how they're really starting to kind of shorten down and really widening out this here. What they are seeing overall, the rotation structure not as impactful impressive. Again, this is coming from the National Weather Service down in North Webster, Indiana. And so that's some good news. That's something Jack and I were seeing with the radar trends, is the fact that the rotation of this is really starting to lessen. Now let's take another live look here. What we are looking at is our rotation detector, and this is the area that we've been watching for the potential of at least some rotation. And I want to try to put on some arrows here for you, just so you can kind of see what the direction that this is going here. And this is moving towards the north and east, up towards Marcellus right now, where we are seeing some of this rotation. So if you live between Cassopolis and Vandalia, right along M60, this is where we're seeing some rotation. So if you live in Vandalia right now, and even in Jones, Michigan, you need to take shelter from this storm, as there still is signs of rotation, meaning that there could be technically a time where there could be a tornado. But again, we are seeing lessening of that rotation. So that's what we want to continue to see, is the lessening of these bright colors. But right now, if you're along M60 between Cassopolis, Vandalia, Jones, Newsburg, up towards Marcellus, you do need to take shelter from this dangerous storm that has popped up currently in Michiana. Now we're going to get back on in here and show you the warning here. Again, that goes out until 3:45 p.m. for, again, the possibility of a tornado. Still have not seen any ground truth here. Radar indicated. There's also very heavy rainfall, lightning as well with this, and even some hail. We did have a report, some video sent in from Cassopolis showcasing some hail that was falling around Diamond Lake, downtown Cassopolis. And I expect that that's the case even within this tornado warning right now between Cassopolis, Vandalia, and Jones, Michigan, that this is a strong thunderstorm. Regardless if there's a tornado or not, it's raining sideways, it's lightning, there's hail with this as well. So a dangerous storm that continues to move its way towards the north and east. And again, this warning goes out until 3:45 p.m. But we're going to stay zoned in here on this velocity tracker here, this rotation, if you will, for this thunderstorm as it continues to move its way towards the north and east. And we're going to put a track here. I'm going to kind of shift my gears here just in case the storm moves its way a little bit further towards the east and south a little bit. Want to make sure our family and friends up in Three Rivers are taking note of this as well. If this can survive, could clip at least a portion of the Three Rivers area over the next 20 to 30 minutes. Newsburg, Jones area, almost right on your doorstep right now. So if you're in Newsburg, Jones, Michigan, we're giving you the heads up to take shelter right now from this tornado warning. And we are going to continue to first alert ahead upstream that Three Rivers and Marcellus areas should also be taking alert from this dangerous storm that continues to move through a portion of Michiana. Jack, do you have anything new?
We do have the updated video that was sent in by one of our old co-workers, Caleb. I was wondering if we could, can we put Wheezy 2 in the monitor behind me, control room? That would be wonderful, just to showcase that video real quick. Obviously, tornado warning still going to be in effect for those folks. This is the video that was sent in, and obviously it's kind of hard to see, and that is good news, really. That means that the hail that we were dealing with up in Michigan is going to be fairly small in nature. And honestly, the hail mixed in with the heavy rainfall, sometimes it's even hard to discern exactly what is what. But as you can see very closely here, and we'll have this video posted on all of our social media momentarily, we can see this light hail bouncing off of the pavement, bouncing off of the grassy surfaces as this storm was rolling through Cassopolis right around 10 to 15 minutes ago. This storm has now moved on into areas out in Cass County, moving through Marcellus and Newburgh right now, kind of over some of the smaller lakes, Diamond Lake and also Lake Donnell up there, moving through as well. So this was going to be the main hazard that we were tracking out with the system, in addition to the fact that, yes, it is trying to spin and look meaner than it actually is appearing on radar. I'd like to throw radar back in the monitor behind us, and what we can see once again is this cell almost kind of flattening out, becoming more and more pancake-like in shape and kind of in nature. Once again, this is very, very good news. Once the rain actually can start to inhibit some of the growth of the storm, we call it rain-wrapped with some of the stronger storms that we are seeing. That is good news. That means that the storm is actually trying to choke itself out, and that is going to be the case going up all the way until 3:45. Brand new scan there. You can see that it is starting to tighten brighten up just a little bit. Again, just looking at the scans coming into first alert radar, looking at reflectivity. Can't see that the strongest portion of the cell still going to be down to the south, down to the west, crossing over M60 right now. Those folks over there in Cass County seeing unbelievably heavy rain. We just saw Caleb's video that confirmed that. We saw the heavy video, and actually this same exact storm, before it really started to strengthen, really gain speed as well, actually passed over our WNDU studios, and it was during one of the recordings that Andrew was trying to get out on the First Alert weather app, and I'll tell you what, it was rather loud in nature. And that's just because there's so much moisture outside, and if you walked out right now, it is way different than it was earlier on this morning. Got to remember, talking about all of the foggy conditions and the cool conditions, that is almost 180 degrees changed, and we're talking about temps in the 70s and humid conditions. All that fog that we saw, well, it lifted, went up into the atmosphere, and that's some of the moisture and the energy that our storms are feeding on. If you're in areas, Schoolcraft, Michigan, just to the north of that warning box, Three Rivers, even though Three Rivers actually isn't in the tornado warning, so it would be a good idea to practice getting into your safe place or just noticing where your safe place is going to be at. Once again, we all know this. We all grew up here in Michiana. This is not anything new for us. We want to just be getting into a basement if you have one, or an interior room without any sort of windows. A lot of times the closet, that's going to be your friend. The bathroom, that's also going to be your friend in situations like this. Once again, tornado warning going to be issued all the way out till 3:45 in the afternoon, and hail going to be the primary hazard with this system, and actually with this lone tornado warned thunderstorm that is tracking through Cass County and then clipping portions of St. Joe County, Michigan. Just an interesting day overall, Andrew. This is something that I think is going to be isolated, at least for today. And then actually, as we get into the evening forecast, hopefully we can downtick on the severe and just talk about those normal run-of-the-mill thunderstorms.
And Jack, I want to show you this photo here. I'm going to try to walk close to the camera here just so you can kind of see this. I don't know if you can really see it that much. This is up in Edwardsburg. We were chatting with our 16 News Now newsroom where we did have a viewer that was kind of on the storm, on the southern edge of the storm as it moved just to the north of downtown Edwardsburg. Really not seeing much in the way of a wall cloud or really even a funnel cloud, which leads me to believe that this was more just some broad rotation and the upper layers of the atmosphere. Just enough cold air aloft with our warm and humid now temperatures across Michigan, just allowing for some of that spin in the upper layers of the atmosphere. So that's why I believe that there is some truth here, that this is only radar indicated with no signs of anything ever reaching the ground. Nonetheless, there is still
Andrew,
some rotation.
You want to send me that picture?
Yeah, I can send you that picture. And we just got a brand new tornado warning that has just been issued. Again, we were talking about Three Rivers here. Let me see if I can pop this on here. This now goes until 4:15 p.m. So I was talking about how this could briefly maybe drop it to a little bit further towards the south and east, and that's what we're seeing. So now Jones, Michigan, completely included now with this brand new tornado warning, as well as Three Rivers. So here's a brand new scan that we're getting in right now. Should be crossing right around Jones, Michigan right now, right around Bear Lake, M60. M40. Bear Lake should be right here, almost in the crosshairs here. There's usually a shell station right there as well. That's where we're watching for the rotation. So if you're around Bear Lake right now, M40, M60, you do need to take shelter across far eastern Cass County. Again, this is around the Bear Lake area right now. This will continue to move its way eastward, and it will likely follow right around the M60 corridor, likely passing somewhere between Constantine and Three Rivers. Again, there is no tornado currently on the ground. This is radar indicated, meaning that we're just watching the scans of the radar where there is the possibility that there could be a tornado that could drop down at any moment. But there has been no ground truth of a tornado reaching the ground. So this brand new tornado warning is out until 4:15 p.m. If you're in Edwardsburg right now, in Cassopolis, you're clear of this dangerous storm. We're now first alerting to places like Jones, Michigan, Bear Lake area that are dealing with the brunt here of this storm. I'm going to see if we can kind of get a few of these towns here. You got Fabius Township there as well, Newsburg. Again, you've got Bear Lake that should be centered right here, right at the edge there of that rotation. So again, if you're in any of these areas here, I'm going to kind of circle this area that we're going to watch closely. Kind of in this area, if you live in this yellow shaded area that I've just highlighted here, you do need to take shelter from this dangerous storm. So they're going to go ahead and let this tornado warning expire that was out for Cassopolis. That will expire and out towards Vandalia. The main focus now is going to be with this new scan that's just now crossing the M60 corridor. I'm going to go ahead and kind of remove some of this and zoom on in here on this warning here. So this is going to follow right, I think, along the M60 corridor here with this new warning popping up right here. So this is the area that we're monitoring for some strong rotation. Again, there's been no ground truth of a tornado actually on the ground, and it's going to continue to move itself towards the north and east here. So if you're in Fabius Township right now, up towards Three Rivers, you do need to take shelter from this dangerous storm, as there is signals still that there is still some rotation in the clouds. So at any given moment, there could be a tornado that could drop down, which is why the National Weather Service has gone ahead and issued this tornado warning now until 4:15 p.m. First alert weather time, 3:41 p.m. So this is out for another half hour and change, if you will, as this continues to move its way towards the north and east. So right now, again, passing Bear Lake, right at the crosshairs of M60, M40, and it's likely going to move its way along and just north of M60 now. So again, if you're in Fabius Township up towards Three Rivers, Michigan, you do need to take shelter from this dangerous storm that has prompted a tornado warning. And again, the good news right now, this is all radar indicated. There's been no ground truth of any tornado physically on the ground. Now, that doesn't mean you need to be sitting outside watching the storm. You still need to take shelter. Jack, you've got some new information?
Yeah, we do have some new information, Andrew, just coming into the First Alert Weather Center. We're going to bring it to you guys momentarily, everybody out there watching. We do have some video and some images that are starting to come into 16 News now, coming into the news inbox that is going to show some house damage in Niles, Michigan. And I understand, I think we have some video as well, and we're going to show that momentarily. Andrew, they're going to be talking to you to communicate that with you momentarily. We have producers working on that right now, but we do have some reports of damage coming into the First Alert Weather Center, Andrew.
Yeah, and I think our control room, they're trying to get that up right. That. So that was likely, Jack, right as we were seeing this in First Alert Weather, we were seeing the rotation being picked up right around Edwardsburg. So I'm guessing it was right when you and I were seeing that rotation. And just coming into the Cass County Emergency Manager says a report of a tornado touchdown between Niles and Edwardsburg. One report of a trapped person being extracted. So that is something that we're currently monitoring right now. I hope our newsroom had just listened to that as well. I'll repeat that. Cass County Emergency Management saying a report of a tornado that did touch down between Niles and Edwardsburg in Cass County. A report of at least one person trapped, and they're working right now to get that person out. I do not know if that person is inside of that house. Jack, if you can let the Weather Service know about this image as well. But again, that is likely right when we were seeing that tightening rotation. Jack and I were noticing that. We were getting everything prepared to get on air, and we certainly got on air right away. So again, this is something we do not want to see in First Alert Weather, and that's homes being damaged from this dangerous storm. So now we're going to likely see this being switched from radar indicated to now tornado observed. So if you're in Fabius Township up towards Three Rivers, this kind of changes the nature of the game a little bit. So if you're in Three Rivers right now, Fabius Township, this does have a report of a tornado that was at least on the ground at some point. So if you live in Fabius Township right now, here's a brand new scan coming into First Alert Weather, a little bit more cluttered here, if you will, but still seeing signs of this rotation. If you're in Fabius Township, Three Rivers, Michigan, go ahead and take shelter, as there has been reports now that a tornado did touch down somewhere between Niles and Edwardsburg. And again, we just saw that image there of a house being severely damaged by what was likely a brief touchdown from this tornado, which means that if you're in these circle shaded areas, you do need to take shelter, as at any given point this tornado could reach back down towards the ground. Now, I do not believe this was a continuation of a tornado from Niles Edwardsburg that continued along this path right along M60. I think what happened is it briefly touched down around Niles Edwardsburg area, briefly went back up to the clouds, and now we're going to watch and see if there are any other areas where there could be a brief touchdown. So if you're along M60 right now this is moving out of Cass County and into St. Joseph County. Notice this black line here. I know it's really hard to see. That's kind of the separation of the counties. So now the dangerous part of this storm is in St. Joseph County in southwestern Michigan, kind of right along and just north of M60. So if you're in Fabius Township right now and into Three Rivers, we're giving you at least a 5 to 10 minute heads up now. If you're in Three Rivers, you need to take shelter from this dangerous storm, as there has been reports of a tornado that has touched down in first alert weather. And again, this warning goes out until 4:15 p.m. First alert weather time is 3:45. So this warning's out for a total of at least 30 extra minutes. And I'm just getting some new data into first alert weather here. Let's see. Nothing new being reported from the Weather Service outside of that tornado that did touch down briefly over in Niles, Michigan, between Niles and Edwardsburg area. Jack, if you can briefly for me put on a storm track here of this kind of tight rotation on the main weather computer here. I've kind of circled where that rotation is right there on right around Fabius Town. Let me go ahead and circle that real quick. And then if you can put a storm track on that towards the north and east. You said it's moving at about 30, 40 miles per hour.
40, yep. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll throw this storm track on, moving to the northeast, right around 40 miles an hour.
There you go, right there.
Perfect. What do you got there?
All right.
12 minutes there. 12 minutes, well, the storm is going to be in Three Rivers. Go ahead and move that down, make it look a little cleaner there.
Yeah, and if we can pop back over to me, please, control room here. So it's getting into Three Rivers here at about 12 minutes is when it will likely arrive in Three Rivers. And it's going to likely clip at least maybe a portion of downtown Three Rivers. I think what it's going to likely do is track its way more towards the northern side of Three Rivers, around the American Axle side, if you will, if you've ever been along US 131 in St. Joseph County. And not telling if there's a tornado physically on the ground right now, but there has been reported with this storm that there has been, in fact, likely a touchdown between Niles and Edwardsburg. We did see that one house that was damaged between Niles and Edwardsburg area, where one person was needing help to get extracted from, again, being trapped from this dangerous storm. So right now, again, if you're in Fabius Township up towards Three Rivers, you do need to take shelter. And I know in this area, sandwiched in between Fabius Township and Three Rivers, it's a lot of farmland. There's a lot of breaks in between the main communities. So again, if you live in between these areas, let your family and friends know that there's a dangerous storm approaching. So if you know anyone right now that's around the Three Rivers area, give them a call, give them a text, say, hey, 16 News Now, first alert weather, they're saying there's possibility of a tornado. You need to get to your safety location. So where is your safety location? If you do not have a basement, your lowest floor is your best bet, and then the interior room of your house. We're talking an interior bathroom, an interior closet. Now, if you do have a basement and you can make it there, that's going to be your best place to take shelter from this storm and whenever there is a tornado warning issued. So an interior room, an interior closet, or a basement, those are where you need to go right now if you're watching us up into Three Rivers, Michigan. Briefly going to pop back on the warning here with the radar kind of overlaid for you. Likely looking at a lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning with this as well. In fact, we'll go ahead and turn on the lightning for you. Look at all these lightning strikes ongoing right now from Three Rivers and the northern side of Three Rivers right now with that, again, that heavy rainfall ongoing, likely some hail. Here's a brand new scan coming in, likely looking at another round of some tightening here of this rotation. So again, if you're in downtown Three Rivers right now, you do need to take shelter from this storm. I'm going to kind of zoom on in here, get a little tighter here of this right now. The Weather Service just got a new update from them. They're going to go ahead and continue this tornado warning until 4:15. The threat is over in Cass County, which we already told you about here in first alert weather. I'm going to kind of zoom on in here and circle the area that we are watching for this rotation. It's just now north of M60. So if there was to be a tornado that was on the ground right now, it would be the northern portion of Three Rivers. So you kind of got downtown Three Rivers right here, US 131, M60 right here. Downtown Three Rivers currently right here. Kind of step off to the screen here. Lockport Township as well. So if you're in Three Rivers right now, you do need to take shelter. I think the worst part of the storm is going to move right over or just to the north of the immediate downtown area of Three Rivers, where there could be a tornado. Again, we already had that report that is very telling that there likely was a touchdown between Niles and Edwardsburg, Michigan at about 3:15 p.m. So we are first alerting that if you're in Three Rivers right now, you do need to take shelter from this very dangerous storm. It does have a history of producing a tornado, and there could be a tornado on the ground in these circle shaded areas. So again, if you're in Three Rivers right now, make sure you are seeking shelter from this dangerous storm. Jack, do you have an update right now with the rotation detector that you're seeing?
Yeah, rotation detector, unfortunately, it's just looking rather tight coming in, looking like on the northwest side of Three Rivers as we go into the afternoon. So like what Andrew was saying, let's go ahead and just kind of reinforce that. Three Rivers area, you need to be in your safe place. Doesn't even matter on what side of town. If your address says Three Rivers, let's go ahead and get inside. Let's get underground if you can. And let's go ahead and just remove windows from the equation. We are seeing a storm that has a history of producing damage. Does it matter if it was tornado damage or wind damage? No, not at all. It is damage nonetheless. So we just need to be very, very careful. There's that brand new scan. It's looking like that rotation is moving towards the north like we just were talking about and expecting. Starting to graze towards the north there. I'm sure it's getting fairly windy for those folks up there. Let's go ahead and widen out the view and see who is on deck here. So once again, Three Rivers along 131-2. Also seeing some fairly decent rotation as we go throughout the overnight, or excuse me, throughout the afternoon forecast. And also Parkville, you need to be on alert if you live up there in Parkville. Let's go ahead and also jump into your safe place, because this storm, and especially the most dangerous part of the storm, the windiest, the strongest part of the storm, looks to be moving into your neck of the woods within the next 5 minutes. And this is not a quick, or excuse me, this is not a slow moving storm by any means. This thing is moving at a decent clip, right around 40 miles an hour with this tornado warned storm. Again, that's going to be the fastest portion of the storm moving in quick. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom things out a little bit, and we can see just to the south of Schoolcraft, Three Rivers area, where we're seeing that green showing up on the radar. That is where we are seeing winds that are actually heading towards the radar. Just to put this in perspective, radar site is going to be down in Kosciuszko County, and red means well,
Jack, if we can come back to me, please, for a second.
Please.
The National Weather Service here, they just went ahead and updated this here.
Okay.
Let's see. Continues tornado damage here. I'm going to kind of read the new report here. Tornado warning remains into effect. A large and extremely dangerous tornado was located over Three Rivers, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So that's the new tag coming in from the National Weather Service on this warning here. They're saying that there indeed is a tornado on the ground right now approaching the Three Rivers area. You can likely see that right there. I'm going to kind of cut this off right here. Both my wife's parents and I, both of our parents, our families live up there as well. So they need to be taking shelter right now. So if you've got anyone in Three Rivers right now, Lockport Township, take shelter. There is a report right now from the National Weather Service of a tornado on the ground. Jack, if you can kind of go over that warning with the National Weather Service, just kind of read over it, make sure I didn't miss anything. But again, they are saying that there is the likelihood of was located over Three Rivers, moving northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So if you're in Three Rivers right now, Lockport Township, there is likely a tornado on the ground. Getting a report right now that in Three Rivers, power has just gone out right now from this dangerous thunderstorm that is right over Three Rivers, Michigan. So in Three Rivers, Michigan right now, if you can still watch us, we are also right now live streaming on WNDU.com and the free WNDU First Alert weather app. We are getting reports right now from the National Weather Service that there is likely a tornado on the ground. I know we have 16 News Now at 4 coming up in a few minutes. We are not going to begin 16 News Now at 4. We are going to stay with you until the damage path has cleared. And we are seeing right now that there is a tornado on the ground that is continuing right now. In the National Weather Service, Jack, I'm seeing some new updates coming through right here on the computer. Yeah, that they're still seeing that, again, that there is a tornado on the ground right now. So using our rotation detector, I'm going to try to get this warning box kind of back on for you, so you folks up in St. Joseph County can kind of see it. Still says radar indicated, but that has now changed to a tornado physically on the ground. So this warning is out until 4:15 p.m. I want to go upstream as well. We're in St. Joseph County in southwestern Michigan right now. If you are, let's see, we just got another report as well. Juneau Lake, a tree down and toppled carport, it looks like, over as well. So again, this dangerous storm continues on right now, and we continue to see that around Three Rivers we're seeing some rotation. If you're in Parkville right now, Mendon, Centerville, north of M86, Centerville, Parkville, Mendon, Lockport Township area. Circle these areas. If you're in these circle shaded areas, it's time to get to your safe location. We're talking the center portion of a room in an interior closet, or if you have a basement, that's the best place to go with this dangerous storm that continues to pass through it. Likely just crossed over US 131, continuing to move its way eastward right now. You have M60 right here, this kind of gray line. You have M86 right now. There's likely a tornado on the ground between Three Rivers in Centerville right now. This is moving towards the north and east at about 40 miles per hour. So if you're in Parkville and Centerville areas or in between, we're giving you several minutes to take shelter from this storm. Also getting a report right now from the National Weather Service that there is a storm spotter that is on this storm here, keeping a safe distance. They said that it has lifted again from this area. So that's the new report coming in. There was a report that there was a tornado on the ground around and near Three Rivers, but the storm spotter indicating from the National Weather Service that the tornado has lifted back up. Now, that does not mean you're in the clear. If you're watching us from Parkville, Centerville areas, the time now is 3:56 p.m. You likely have a few extra minutes here to get to your safe spot right now. So this is moving now towards the center portion of St. Joseph County in southwestern Michigan. So if you live in the central portion of southwestern Michigan right now in St. Joseph County, Parkville, Centerville areas between M62 and M86, you need to take shelter. Heavy damage reported by the fire department in Three Rivers. I think we've got Lauren in here. Lauren, if you can relay that, please, to our 16 News Now team, that there is heavy damage reported by the fire department in Three Rivers from that tornado that was touched down. Likely the strongest part of the rotation moved right over downtown Three Rivers from this dangerous thunderstorm. So that is something our 16 News Now team is going to continue to investigate. Is the brand new damage now being reported from the fire department in Three Rivers. We also have that damage report coming in between Niles and Edwardsburg, where there was a portion of a house that was unfortunately destroyed. So that is something that our team is going to continue to analyze here, are these tornado reports. We had one report of this tornado that touched down between Niles and Edwardsburg, and now this new one that has touched down right over Three Rivers. So again, if you're in Parkville, Centerville area, now's the time to take shelter from this dangerous storm as it continues to move its way towards the north and east. Jack, are you seeing anything brand new right now to alert our viewers to?
The one thing that I am just keeping a rather close eye on is the fact that this storm is just keep on going and going. We can't see, not really showing any weakening, and you can tell that by the thick lightning that is coming in. The lightning obviously going to indicate kind of the strongest portion of the storm, and that tornado that unfortunately we already seeing some damage coming out of the city of Three Rivers, or at least hearing reports of damage coming out of the city of Three Rivers have already reported. That tornado and that rotation is going to be right in the area just off to the north, just off to the east of Three Rivers, tracking out to the end of this polygon. And I guess kind of the saving grace that we are seeing with this system is the fact that this polygon has been trimmed back. It is fairly tight, it is fairly concise, just because this storm is changing and evolving. Every 5 minutes or so, we're getting brand new data into the First Alert Weather Center. Us, as well as the National Weather Service, are keeping a rather close eye on this extremely dangerous situation that is coming through. Andrew, you have something?
Jack, I'm getting a few reports here. In the hospital, and I hope our 16 News Now team is listening to this as well. I know I've got my producer in our ear right now as well. We should be in 16 News Now at 4, but we were in special live First Alert Weather Day coverage as there was 2 reports of a tornado touchdown, one between Niles and Edwardsburg and another one in Three Rivers. There's a report right now that the hospital in Three Rivers, so Jesse, our producer, if you can relay that to our newsroom, the hospital in Three Rivers, the roof, this is a report here, not confirmed, report of a destroyed roof over the hospital in Three Rivers. So that's something our 16 News Now team is going to try to verify for you and get that confirmed. Again, this is up in Three Rivers, Michigan in St. Joseph County. I want to make sure we are first alerting ahead, though. 2 folks that are ahead of this path right now. We're still seeing signs of this rotation right now, kind of right along M60. If you're between Parkville, Mendon and Centerville areas, you need to be in your tornado safe spot right now. This storm has a history of producing a tornado with extensive damage. So if you're in Parkville, Centerville, Mendon areas between M60 and M86, you need to take shelter from this dangerous storm, as there have been reports, several reports of a tornado on the ground that has produced extensive damage. So your life is at stake right now in Parkville, Centerville and Mendon areas, where you do need to take shelter from this dangerous storm. We have some storm spotters on there as well. They're currently monitoring the situation. We are in constant contact right now with the National Weather Service. This warning is out until 4:15 p.m. It's 4:01 p.m. right now. This is still out for another 15 minutes, give or take, and this will continue to move its way towards the north and east. I think right now the track of this here, if I can go ahead and just kind of put on a track again here with this storm moving towards the east. We'll go ahead north and east real quick. You see that it could potentially reach the Mendon area within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So if you're in Mendon right now, you've got about a 10-minute lead time in First Alert weather. In Mendon right now, there is likely a tornado on the ground just to the west of you. So if you're in the Mendon area, you need to get your family to a safe place. If you know anyone right now up in Mendon area, let them know that there is a dangerous storm approaching your area. If you're watching us from Three Rivers right now, the most dangerous portion of this storm is now off to our east, right around Lockport Township, around the Fishers Lake area, moving just to the north of downtown Centerville. So if you're in downtown Centerville or just to the north, in between Parkville and the Mendon area, you do need to take shelter from this dangerous storm that does have a history of producing a tornado with extensive damage. Again, we've seen that damage report of a house that was partially destroyed in Niles, Edwardsburg area, and we're getting reports in right now of damage from the fire department in Three Rivers, Michigan. Jack, I believe you've got some storm reports here. If you can go ahead and touch on that briefly.
Yeah, I would love to, Andrew. Now, I want to make it obviously clear that these storm reports have already happened. They happened right around a half hour, 45 minutes ago, just to kind of keep that up to date. So these reports that I'm about to throw up here have already happened, and the storm threat still going to be over in St. Joe County, Michigan. The first one is going to be in Edwardsburg, where we did see of that house actually that we had earlier today, and that we actually showed here on 16 News Now, our special coverage of this tornado warning of that house that was destroyed. And obviously that is going to be the type of hazard. Obviously a tornado came through there right around 3:11 earlier on today. Now our second report that was issued was just upstream, the same storm that is still currently tornado warned, this time in Juneau Lake, and this time a tree was down and toppled in center pivot in this location, obviously just over by Juneau Lake, and that happened at 3:18. So both of these reports happening within 10 minutes of each other, showing that strong storm coming through, Andrew.
And just getting some reports here from our social media pages, WNDU, my fan page as well. Just got a report from Lori coming in here. She says the tornado hit, this is up in Three Rivers, the tornado hit in Three Rivers between the Menards and Myers. So really the commercial district, if you will, of Three Rivers. So it likely just missed downtown Three Rivers and hit just to the south of downtown Three Rivers. Rivers, with the Menards and Myers in Three Rivers, including the hospital in Three Rivers, being reported to have damage from that tornado that did touch down. So that is something our First Alert weather team will continue to investigate in our 16 News Now team. We want to continue that. We are first alerting ahead. This tornado warning has just been expanded and has just been moved up until 4:30 p.m. now. So another 25 minutes to go with this warning. They've extended it now to include Mendon and Leandis here, the northeast portion here of St. Joseph County. So again, if you're in Mendes right now or Leandis around M66 and M60, you do need to take shelter from this dangerous storm. I'm going to kind of circle the area that we're watching for the rotation right now, and I'm also going to circle some places along M60, Mendon and Leandis. So if you're in between those two towns or in those two towns, even Colon, Michigan, Nottawa as well, it's time to get to your safety location, an interior room without windows or a basement. And you can stream us live right now on the 16 News Now app, on the free WNDU First Alert weather app. Turn your TV volume all the way up as you take shelter. Again, if you're in Leandis and in Mendon right now, anywhere between M60 and M66, you do need to take shelter from this very dangerous storm. It does have history of producing a tornado. And you see this new tag here, source observed, meaning that there is likely a tornado that is still on the ground right now that is causing significant damage. So if you're in Mendon and Leandis, Michigan, you need to head to your safety location now. We're likely are just minutes away from this getting into around the Mendon area, likely another 10 minutes or so from this approaching the Leandis area. So again, if you're on M60, M66, and northeastern portions of St. Joseph County, you do need to take shelter from this dangerous storm that does have history of producing a tornado. Again, this brand new tornado warning is now out until 4:30 p.m., out for another 25 minutes. And there has been history of this storm producing damage with it. Jack, what are you seeing here with this new tornado warning report that was just issued from the National Weather Service?
Yeah, Andrew, the main takeaway obviously is that new tag. So every time the National Weather Service actually issues a warning, they kind of rank it in terms of severity. And anytime we're talking about tornado warnings, they usually start out as radar indicated, meaning the folks over there at the National Weather Service are seeing some rotation in the atmosphere, and they go ahead and put that tornado warning out just in case to alert folks of the hazard that there could be a tornado heading their way. And unfortunately, that has now been upped to observed, meaning there is an actual tornado that has been on the ground and unfortunately has already had a history of producing damage. We saw those pictures coming out of Niles, Edwardsburg area of that tornado coming down, tearing apart that house, causing extensive damage to that house. And it's looking like this storm is still chugging along and still building in strength as it looks to exit St. Joe County, Michigan, maybe around 4:30. That's when the National Weather Service thinks the strongest portion of the storm is actually going to exit the county line. If you are in Mendon, this is going to be one of your opportunities to get into your safe place. Make sure we're not seeing any windows where you are. Best case scenario, you're going to go downstairs into a basement where there is a solid foundation around you. You just want to protect yourself from the outside. You want to get to the most interior portion, if you will, of that basement warning. Hail size right around an inch, and check this out, almost even maxing out our first alert radar. You see all the white showing up here? We do have a spot here and a large spot here. What that is going to show is going to be the hail core with this storm and with this exact cell that is moving through. Hail size with this storm going to be estimated right around an inch. We did have that hail report that did come in earlier from one of our old employees, Caleb, in Cassopolis, showing right around half an inch size hail coming down. This has already been up to inch size hail coming down, of course, even overwhelming our own first alert radar here. So we're talking about a powerful and unfortunately a destructive storm that is moving through Michigan. Louisiana, moving through at a good clip. I would like to point out right around 40 miles an hour this storm is moving at. Again, Mendon, you're going to be next, unfortunately, under the gun of this potentially dangerous and very life-threatening storm. We've already seen some of the reports of the damage, and that looks to continue as we go throughout the afternoon. This new warning is expected to last all the way up until 4:30, and notice how it's only trimming off here at the portion of St. Joe County and of course just to the north. That's because the National Weather Service actually up in Grand Rapids is going to take over the storm as soon as it crosses over the border. Mendon needs to be in their safe place right now. Let's go ahead and see the spin that is on the storm and actually the rotation that has already been observed and is kind of the main driver, if you will, for this tornado warning. We're going to go ahead and readjust my radar just because that shows you how quick the storm actually moved, that I had to already shift the camera a number of miles, maybe 20, 30 miles. But anytime we're looking at red and green meeting on the radar, that does mean that there is some spin on the radar and in the storm. Andrew, what do you have for us?
Just checking in here with the National Weather Service here. They are reporting right now there is a spotter on this right now. There is a funnel right now, and that is approaching Mendon. They're saying it's a narrow cone shaped right now, again approaching Mendon. So it's likely, if you take with this with radar right now, there's a funnel cloud likely going to drop back down again and produce another tornado right around downtown Mendon. So if you're watching us from Mendon right now, please take shelter from this dangerous storm as it continues to move through. Again, storm spotters are currently on this right now. The National Weather Service is saying that there is a funnel cloud that is capable of producing another destructive tornado. So if you're in Mendon, now's the time again to please take shelter, and likely your time is passing right now. If you're in Leandis right now, you're the next one in this path. It's kind of riding right along M60 right now, where we are seeing the damage reports coming in. So if you're in Leandis right now, now is your chance to take shelter. If you know anyone between Leandis and Colon, Michigan, the northeast corner of St. Joseph County, this is the dangerous storm that our First Alert Weather Team has been alerting you to for nearly an hour. We were on the air the moment, literally a second or two, that the warning was issued. Our First Alert Weather Team was on for you, keeping our communities in southwestern Michigan safe of this dangerous storm. Likely a tornado or a funnel cloud currently on in Mendon. Right now passing right at the crosshairs between M60 and M66. This is moving north and east right now towards Leandis, Michigan. So in Leandis, Michigan right now, you need to take shelter from this dangerous storm, likely on your doorstep here in a matter of minutes. Kind of got a circle of what we are looking at here in the rotation department with the strongest rotation, again, right over Mendon, now moving east of downtown Mendon right now, moving towards the north and east. Again, a lot of farm area up here, a lot of rural communities live in this portion of St. Joseph County in southwestern Michigan. So if you're in these circle shaded areas, these are the areas in the path right now, and then we are likely seeing to some degree, unfortunately, of some damage right now in Mendon, Michigan, from either a tornado that is on the ground or a tornado that could likely be on the ground. So again, if you're along M60 right now, this is around Mendon and Leandis, Michigan here, you do need to take shelter from this storm. Now, what's likely going to happen within the next 20 minutes, if that, this storm will eventually move out of the WNDU viewing area. But we're going to stay on the air until this storm moves out of St. Joseph County in southwestern Michigan. We are also first alerting ahead that we've got additional chances for some storms later tonight and into Saturday morning. And once we are done with this special live First Alert Weather Day coverage, we're going to break that down when 16 News Now at 4 kicks in once this dangerous storm moves out of the WNDU viewing area. But please, right now, if you know any family or friends between Mendon and Leandis, Michigan, they need to take shelter from this dangerous storm. It has had reports, 2 reports that we know of so far, that have had damage from a dangerous tornado on the ground, and our team is learning of extensive damage right now in the town of Three Rivers. So that is something that our team is going to continue to investigate on. We've got several reporters right now that are out in the field right now trying to get all the latest that we can for you to help keep you, your friends, and your family safe. Jack, what are you seeing right now?
Right now, we're just watching this storm come through the city, of Mendon is going to be seeing the brunt of the tornado warning currently, where that rotation is currently happening, where we are seeing the spin in the atmosphere. Once again, National Weather Service did send into the chat room that there's a report of a wall cloud, and what a wall cloud is the lowering of the storm. That's where the storm is starting to spin and actually starting to create a funnel cloud coming down to the ground that has been touching down throughout the past hour. Now, Leandis needs to take shelter. This storm is expected to be moving through that town within the next 7 minutes. That's showing you how quickly this storm is moving through the area. Now, in anticipation for the storm to move out of St. Joseph County, we can't see just to the north. Check out this yellow box. That's actually going to be a severe thunderstorm warning on the north side of this system and of this cell and of the north side of that hail core. So those folks are expected to see the continuation of this severe thunderstorm and, of course, this unfortunate tornado warning. Right now, Mendon, you are going to be under the gun. I hope everybody over there is heeding the warning, is taking shelter and being very, very safe with this very dangerous situation. Leandis, you guys are up next. 6 minutes. We keep ticking down when it's coming in. The city of Leandis is probably already seeing some light hail coming down. We're talking hail in the range of ½ an inch, maybe even an inch. Extreme wind gusts and also very heavy rainfall. And unfortunately, the wind is looking like it is going to be ticking up and up and up within the next 6 minutes when the strongest portion of the storm is expected to make its way through the city of Leandis. Something we're still keeping an eye on. National Weather Service still has this warning out all the way until 4:30 this afternoon. That's when the strongest portion of the storm is actually expected to move out of St. Joe County, Michigan. And it's something that we are keeping a rather close eye on, Andrew.
All right, Jack, coming back to me here. Time now in First Alert Weather is 4:15 Eastern Time. We're in special live First Alert Weather Day coverage as we have had extensive damage from a tornado on the ground in southwestern Michigan between Cass County and St. Joseph County in southwestern Michigan. Our First Alert Weather team has been on this for now over an hour. We were on the air the moment the tornado warning was issued around Edwardsburg, Niles area. We, within a second, were on the air alerting you to this dangerous storm. If you're in Leandis right now, your time is running out to take shelter from this dangerous storm. Notice these brighter colors right here just to the west of downtown Leandis. This tornado is going to be on top of you within the moment. So if you have any family or friends that live in Leandis right now, they need to be in shelter. The basement storm cellar is best. If you do not have a basement or storm shelter, the interior room or closet without windows is your best option. This is across northern portion of St. Joseph County here for this tornado warned storm that is going to again continue on. Now, we just got an update from the National Weather Service. If you're in Leandis, Michigan right now, you still need to take shelter from this storm. What the Weather Service is going to do, though, they're going to go ahead and cancel most of this tornado warning as it starts to move out of the WNDU viewing area. So we're going to stay with you until this storm passes through Leandis, Michigan, and then our First Alert Weather team is going to kind of re-rack and get you set up for another round of active storms that could continue on tonight and into tomorrow morning in First Alert Weather. We also have our 16 News Now team. They are out right now working for you, covering the extensive damage up into southwestern Michigan, where we have 3 reporters right now into the field. But right now, the most dangerous part of this storm right now is moving right over Leandis, Michigan. And the moment it passes through Leandis, Michigan, this will begin to work its way out of the WNDU viewing area. This tornado warning goes out until 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The National Weather Service at the end of 4:30 p.m. is going to allow this to expire, and this will continue over into Branch County in southwestern Michigan, over towards places just to the north of Coldwater, over towards the Battle Creek area as this continues to move its way towards the north and east. So right now, the most dangerous portion of this storm right over Leandus, Michigan right now, right along M60, and that's really where this has been tracking. It's been kind of following M60 since this began around just to the east of Edwardsburg, and this will continue to work its way maybe up even as far north as Athens. So even though it's not in the WNDU viewing area, if you have any family or friends that are around the Athens area, maybe up and around the Battle Creek area, let them know that there's been this dangerous storm in southwestern Michigan, and it has produced a tornado. We have several reports of damage, even people unfortunately getting hurt right now. Seeing some brand new scans coming in here, still looking at these bright colors. What these bright colors mean is still some very tight rotation still ongoing in the town of Leandus, Michigan right now. So it's Leandus, Michigan right now really getting the brunt here of this tornado warned storm. Jack, are you seeing anything new right now from the National Weather Service?
From the National Weather Service, I haven't picked up on anything, Andrew, except the fact that they are going to allow this current tornado warning to expire at 4:30. Oh, and there we go. We are actually going to continue the warning in. There you go. There's your new update coming into first alert weather. Let me read over right now. It's just saying dangerous storm still moving in, located near Cologne, 14 miles east of Three Rivers. And I'm looking at a couple different sources of radar here. It's looking like the storm has already passed over the city of Mendon and Leandus. That is going to be on deck within the next 4 minutes. The most dangerous portion of the storm is going to be moving into downtown and then upstream out of the WNDU viewing area, but still still our neighbors here in Michiana. Up in Athens, you got right around 15 minutes, 14 minutes to be exact, until this dangerous storm looks to track over into your neighborhood. So something we're keeping obviously a rather close eye on. This storm has a history, unfortunately, of producing damage and actually inflicting a little bit of bodily injury to some folks. We did get that report earlier. We showed you that picture out in Niles and in Edwardsburg of that house that has a decent amount of damage on it. And unfortunately, the report came out and said that somebody was trapped in that house. We'll have additional updates on the state of that entrapment and any other damage reports that we are starting to see filtered in to First Alert Weather coming up. Andrew, you have something?
Yeah, so again, this tornado warning right now over Leandus, Michigan. This is now going to continue to move its way out of Michiana. We're just going to give this a few extra minutes here until it just passes downtown Leandus, Michigan for our special live First Alert Weather Day coverage. I just want to widen out the map real quick for you. I know we have a lot of other folks watching from other parts of Michiana. I want to widen this out here, this map here, and what we're going to do is turn on the radar here. We are first alerting that we are watching no other severe thunderstorm or tornado warned storm in Michiana. All the action right now is across that northeast sliver of St. Joseph County, Michigan right now. Everyone else in Michiana staying quiet. There is another downpour that we'll continue to keep an eye on right now. Shows no signs of becoming severe around North Liberty, Walkerton area. That's just the normal, your traditional garden variety thunderstorm. Where all the action has been is across the northeastern portion here of St. Joseph County. That's where there is currently an active tornado warning that is out until 4:30 p.m. Again, right now, right over the town of Leandus, Michigan. This is now moving out of our main WNDU viewing area, but this has had signs of having extensive damage in the Niles, Edwardsburg area, and also getting reports of several damage reports in the town of Three Rivers, right near their main commercial district, around the Menards, the Home Depot, Myers, Walmart area, the Three Rivers Hospital area. That is where the damage has been reported the most, and that's in Three Rivers, Michigan, and St. Joseph County. This tornado warning goes until 4:30 p.m. First alert weather time at 4:22. We are starting to move this out of the main Michiana area. So with that being said here, our 16 News Now team is going to continue with this extensive coverage, not only in First Alert Weather, but we have several news folks that are around as well, continuing on with this. Jack, real quick before we end our special First Alert Weather Day coverage with this dangerous storm, are you seeing anything else right now that is critical?
As of now, Andrew, thankfully, nothing else that is too critical on our screens right now and actually coming into first alert weather. Still watching for this storm to exit out of the northeast corner of St. Joe County, Michigan. It's looking like the city of Leandis, that storm threat is slowly but surely starting to pass right over, especially down to the southern portion of the city. So that is good news that this system and this exact storm is starting to trek out of the city of Leandis and actually head towards the new city of Athens, which is just outside of our WNDU viewing area. But of course, they're still going to be our neighbors here in Michiana. So hopefully, if they are watching up here, if you're in the city of Athens, make sure you are starting to get into your safe place as this destructive tornado-warned thunderstorm is moving through. As of now, for rotation, we can see there's a little bit of contrast still showing up on first alert radar. We just got a new scan there, and you can see the continuation and the storm movement of this system. We have the green, which is showing that winds are heading towards the radar, and you got to remember the radar is going to be in North Webster and Kosciuszko County. So winds heading south, and where you're seeing this magenta color, well, that's going to be winds heading away from the radar, so heading to the north and heading to the west. Anytime you see those opposing winds come together, that's where we are going to be seeing rotation. Unfortunately, that has been the trend with this exact thunderstorm and with this tornado-warned thunderstorm, I should say, that we've been watching for the rest of the day. You can't see this black line here. That's cutting M60 in half just to the east of Leandis. That is going to be the border of St. Joe County, Michigan, and moving out of our WNDU viewing area. And it's looking like slowly but surely, just a little ahead of schedule at 4:24, that rotation is moving out of our viewing area, Andrew.
All right, so with that said, Jack, here again, this is still a dangerous storm. If you know anyone between Athens and Sherwood, I know that's kind of out of the Michiana viewing area, let them know that this is where this dangerous storm is heading now. We're getting reports and images in to our 16 News Now team, again, of extensive damage around the Niles, Edwardsburg area and up into Three Rivers, where it appears like parts of the Menards in Three Rivers has collapsed. So with that being said now, we're going to go ahead and end our first alert weather day live coverage right now. We've got Josh and Lauren at the desk. We've got a lot to follow up on with this tornado warning that did produce with it a lot of damage in southwestern Michigan. With that being said, now let's send things over to Josh and Lauren for an update on that damage.
All right, Andrew, we appreciate it. Thank you. Lauren Moss here, Joshua Short with you, obviously following what has become a very dynamic day.